Okay, first off, I know we have a couple people joining us online as well through the Zoom. So if anyone has questions at any time, please feel free to just interrupt me or use that chat box. I will try to remember to keep an eye on it. But otherwise, let me introduce myself. My name is Emily Shoddick. I'm here. I work for the American Psychological Association. This is my colleague, Lewis. So we're here. We're out from DC this week doing some training sessions all about Academic Writer. So if you have not heard of Academic Writer yet, this is a resource that's available through your library. Your library has subscribed to this, and it's a tool for you to use to help you with writing, research, and especially writing papers in APA style. Oh, great, come on in. Hello. Hi. So, especially if your courses are using APA style for papers, which it seems like everyone that's attending these are, hopefully this will be very helpful for you. This session is going to be focused on just the basics. So starting from scratch, kind of assuming that you maybe dipped your toes in a little bit and explored a little bit, but we will kind of start from scratch and kind of give you a nice overview here of the basics. So first off, let me do a little bit of orientation here. So how do you actually access this? It's through your library. So if you go to your library homepage here that I have up on the screen, you want to go to the databases tab. So it is available in your library just like other databases, even though it's not really a database, it's more of a tool, but also configured in here like other databases. So just go to your A to Z database list here, and you want to look for Academic Writer, American Psychological Association, APA. As I kind of go along through these steps, if you want to follow along on your own computer, I'll kind of walk you through how to create your own account, and we'll kind of create a practice paper. So if you want to follow along, please feel free. So all you need to do is click that link for Academic Writer. If you are on campus, it should take you straight to the Academic Writer homepage. If you are off campus, I believe you'll have to log in first with your Emporia credentials, like you would with other library resources. So if you are off campus, you want to log in first, and then it should take you to this Academic Writer page here. Okay, so then from that point, you will want to create your own personal account. And the reason for that is really so that you can maintain your own work in your account. So you'll be able to write papers and save those papers in your account, and then also add references and access those references in your account, and any items that you've favorited in the Learn Center. So to create your account, you, from this homepage, want to come up to that Welcome drop-down menu and click on Login. If you already have an APA account or an Academic Writer account, you can go ahead and log in here, or you can click on Create an Account to set up your own account. So I'll give you just a minute if you'd like to create an account right now. It's like, might as well do this now instead of trying to remember everything. So you just need to fill in the standard information here, your name, email address. You don't have to use your Emporia email address. You can use any one that you like. And just choose a username and a password, and agree to the privacy and terms of service items here. And then you can just click on Create an Account, and you should be all set. Did you have an extra laptop? Okay. Do you want to use one? If you want to follow along. Yeah.
There's guests.
Yeah, go ahead.
It'll be helpful.
Yes.
You know, it's one of those things.
Maybe I screwed up and
Are you trying to do there?
yeah. Yeah, since you.
So I'll just backtrack for our person that's joining us. So if you go to your, start at the Emporia Library homepage, and then go to the Databases tab and choose in that A to Z list, Academic Writer.
Okay.
And then you'll be able to create an account.
So once you're on Academic Writer, where do you click to create your account?
Yeah, so you want to go up to the welcome menu drop down and click on that and click on login. Excuse me. And then you'll see a link for create an account. And once you click that, you'll see the form to create your account. Did you get there okay? So A to Z list, Academic Writer, and then from the Academic Writer homepage, welcome, and choose login. So I'll go ahead and log into my own account. Okay, so then once you've set up your account and logged in, across the top next to the welcome, you'll see your name. So you know that you're logged into your own account. Also in that drop-down menu, I just want to point out some training resources that we have available. So if you click on the Site Help in that welcome menu, this is a page of resources that our team that Lewis and I both work on. We've developed some handouts, training videos. So this is help for using Academic Writer to write your papers. So there is a getting started guide over here in the left side column. There's also a handout here to walk you through creating an account. So if students are ever having trouble creating their own account, you can refer them to that handout. There's some help, some handouts here for writing. So things like adding in-text citations in Academic Writer. There's also one on adding references. So I'll show you how these look. These are just handouts that have screenshots and they're annotated to kind of walk you through step by step to do this task. Okay, and then also there are some teaching tip handouts down here. So how to use Academic Writer with your LMS, and then also Academic Writer teaching tips handout. Then also under the troubleshooting, there is a login help page. So if you're ever having issues logging in or students are, you can refer to this page. And then also on the right side, under this Learn More section, we have a YouTube page here. So these are some recordings of webinars that we've done, as well as a quick 3-minute getting started with a paper video, and also how to add references and in-text citations video. So just some extra training resources available for you. Okay, and let me go back to the Academic Writer homepage. Across the top also, next to that welcome, if you see that My File cabinet, this is where you can quickly access your work. So any of the references that you've added to Academic Writer, any of the papers you're working on, and anything that you've favorited from the Learn Center. Then I'm going to scroll down to the very bottom in this footer area. On the far left side, you'll see our contact information. So if you're ever having technical difficulties, login problems, you can contact us. There's a phone number. I would say the best method to reach us is probably by email here. Just probably a faster response phone number, we will answer. It just might be a phone tag situation sometimes. So I would suggest using that email address if you're having any sort of issues or just have questions about how to use Academic Writer. Then also down at the very bottom right corner, we have some social media links here. And I just wanted to point out that there is a link, a quick link down here. If you see the one that looks like a little bee, that will take you straight to our APA style blog. So this is a great resource, especially if you are using APA style in your classes. Students might come to you with those weird questions about writing references for different types of sources. So I used to use this all the time as a librarian with my students. So searching in here, I pretty much all the time found an answer to a question. And then you can also contact our style experts through the blog here. So you can email them if you are just not finding an answer to a question that you have. So good resource to point out. All right. Okay, so that just kind of gives you the lay of the land here on the homepage. So what I'm going to do today is walk you through an overview of each of the centers. So first we'll talk about the Learn Center, then talk about references, and then talk about the Writing Center, where you can go to actually write your papers in the program. So first off, in the Learn Center, this kind of bright green tab here, think of it as your digital media library for learning about APA style and writing and research. So these are the different types of learning objects that we have available in the Learning Center. So quick guides, tutorials, self-quizzes, and then we have a whole big collection of samples for students to follow along to kind of get a nice visual before they jump into writing a paper. So let me just click into our quick guides and I'll explain what each of these are. So the quick guides, if you look up across the top in the tabs next to it, it shows you how many items are in each section. So there's 66 of these quick guides. Excuse me. The quick guides are videos. They're shorter videos. They're about 3 to 5 minutes long, and they're kind of your quick reference resource videos. So if you have a quick question about more specific APA style guidelines, the quick guides are a great place to start. So in here you can browse by title or also by topic. I tend to like to browse by topic. It kind of organizes everything for me a little better. So you can see the different topics of videos that we have here. So citing sources, we have page formatting. I do like to point out this basic setup video here is a great place to start, especially with students who might be brand new to using APA style. It kind of just lays out, here's how everything should be formatted. Here's where you put your page number, title page, and it explains very well all of the components of your paper that you need to start with. So it's a great foundation. In here, there's also different formatting videos like how to create a title page, how to set up your running head, how to use heading levels. And then there's a whole list of reference videos. So how to write a reference for all these different types of sources. So book, journal article, several different videos there. Okay, so in the videos, if you click on the show details next to the video, let me go back to this basic setup. To show details next to the video that you want to look at, on the right side, you'll see some information. There's a description here. The thumbnail will take you straight to the video. Below that, there's a transcript that you can download. This is helpful, especially for students if they want to, take notes along with the video or read along. And then if I just click right onto the thumbnail, it will take me to our video. So you can just see how this looks essentially. If you click on the tiles down below, this allows me to jump through different sections of the video. So if I really wanted to focus on something like the headers, I can go to that. Okay. So let me close out of that and I will move on and show you our tutorials. So there's 18 of these. These are also videos. They're going to be longer, so about 30 minutes for most of these. And they're going to cover broader topics, so not so specific to just APA style, but you'll see lots of videos to help with the writing and research process. So I also like to choose browse by topic. So you see we have a publishing, research, and writing section here. So if I go, say, to writing, there's another video I like to point out. So this is a longer video. This Getting Started with APA Style is another great video to start out with for students who might be newer to using APA Style. So also creates a great just foundation to start out. So that one is focused on APA Style, some examples of others that are more general. So there's a video here on how to avoid plagiarism, which is a great one to point out. As a librarian, we used to talk about that a lot in classes, and I had to, you know, kind of develop my own materials. And this is really helpful time saver. It's already there created for you. Then under the research section, we also have one, how to find reliable sources. Very helpful, especially these days with so much information out there, hard to actually identify what is a credible, reliable source. So this video will help with that. And let's see, those are just a few that I like to point out. And then also with the tutorials, you'll notice that this one that I have selected, analyzing data and drawing conclusions, it breaks these tutorials out by section. So since they are a bit longer, I can jump to a specific section of the tutorial if I like, or just assign my students a specific section. All right. Then you'll notice up here in the top right of all of these learning objects, there's a green star. If you see it with just the outline, you can click it. Whoops, click on that, and it will turn solid, and that means that it's added that learning object to your favorites. So the favorites show up in this last tab back here, and that's just so you can kind of build your own personal library of items from here in the Learn Center so that you can refer back to them and find them easily. Okay, so those are our tutorials. Next, we have our self-quizzes. So there's 10 of these. All of the information presented in the quizzes does correspond with the information presented in the quick guides and tutorials, and they are linked together basically. So if I click on, say, this citing sources quiz, show details, in the description, I can see a list of quick guides that are recommended I should view before taking the quiz. Okay, so let me show you how these quizzes look. All right, so these are created really just for self-assessment. They're not really gradable right now. It's something that we're working on for future versions of Academic Writer, but right now it's just kind of for students to assess their own knowledge. So here you would just make your selection. If on the first try it's incorrect, it will tell me that it's incorrect and I have the option to try again. And then if I make my next selection and it's incorrect again, I have the option at that point to show the answer. So then I will see the correct answer selected here. And then in this green box, just an explanation of why that's the correct answer. Okay, so those are our quizzes. I will mention also all of these objects, all of these items in the Learn Center can also be integrated with your Canvas courses. We did a session yesterday that kind of did a deep dive on the steps to do that. So I will send some of those handouts to you, Cynthia, in case anyone's interested. It will walk you through step by step of how to integrate these items into your course. Yes.
So what Emily was saying about the integration was you can get one of the quick guides and just put it on your Canvas instead of having them go to the actual product, find the video. You know, it's just you give them the link here, go to this, right?
Mm-hmm. So you can link specific videos, samples, things like that. Okay, so next we have all of our samples. So first we have our sample papers. There's 17 of these. Also, again, I like to choose the browse by topic. I keep telling our product people I think it should default to browse by topic in all of these because I always tell people to select that. So maybe they'll listen one of these days. But so browsing by topic allows you to view all of the types of papers so that you can click on this and then view a sample paper for that type. So say you have a class that's working on a literature review, you can click here. There's 2 sample papers. These have been very thoroughly reviewed by our APA style experts. So they're very reliable to refer students to. So very helpful, you know, if you're a visual learner like myself and need to see a sample of this type of paper, you can click on it and then you can click the paper here and it will take you to a full PDF of the paper. Okay, go back. So those are our papers. Next, we have sample references. There's 152 of these. You can select browse by topic as well. And I also, with the sample references, if you look over here in the top right, you can choose list or grid view. And I tend to like to choose the grid view here. You can click the star to add any of these to your favorites. So these are 152, you know, types of resources essentially and how you would write a reference for that. So it gives you an example of how everything should be formatted. Also, if you look up in the top right in that search box, the Learning Center is searchable to help you find what you're looking for. So if I was looking for, say, an article, I will get my results here with the term I searched highlighted. So for example, there is a sample of a journal article with a DOI number. So I can easily find the type of reference that I need to follow. And then when you're done, if you want to go back to the full library, you can just click on show all items. Okay, and then after our sample references, we also have sample tables. There's 8 of these. I know APA style has very specific guidelines for formatting your tables. So if you want to see some examples of how these types of tables should look, you can follow these. And then we also have sample figures. So if you're using images, charts, graphs to present data in your papers, you can use these as samples as well. And then at the very end, you have the My Favorites tab, where you can build your own collection of learning objects. All right, any questions so far about content that's available in the Learn Center? I know. Where was I when I was teaching this stuff to students? Yeah, I totally relate to that. It's only, Academic Writer is only about 3 years old. So I think you'll see we're constantly making updates. So even as it is now, I mean, I think it's incredible. I would have loved to have it when I was in school and helping students, but yeah. So I will keep moving along and talk about references next. So this part will be a little, oh yeah, go ahead. Sure.
Just wondering, just what you said then, so having a new edition of the hard copy book,
Yeah.
how will that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I just want to repeat for our people online. So we have the 7th edition of the publication manual coming out in actually just a week or so. It comes out October 1st. So very soon. It's long awaited. It's been about 10 years since we had a new edition come out. So it's coming out very soon. Academic Writer will be updated to reflect all the changes, but not instantly. It's not going to happen when the publication manual comes out. And I think that's really for everyone's sanity, working in APA style and teaching it and working on papers. So it will come out next year for schools. So Academic Writer will be updated next year. We'll have more communications coming out about specifically when, but you will have some time to actually, learn the rules and work on them before everything will change. Because when it does change, it will actually transfer all of your references and papers and change them into 7th edition. So yeah, it'll be like a big migration over. So
what happens then once that's up and running and something needs changed during like the 10 years before the 8th edition?
Oh.
Will it change on here, or will those kind of changes just be, even they could be made easily online, will they just be put to the side until the hard copy?
I don't really know yet. You mean, so like when the next edition comes out, the 8th edition, gosh, it probably won't happen for, I don't know, it's 10 years, but that's a good point. I mean,
It's just easier to update
this online. Yeah. I don't know if I can really see APA going without a print copy of the publication manual. But who knows? Who knows what it would be in another, I don't know if it will be another 10 years. Maybe they'll decide to change things earlier. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, so I can show you, since we're talking about this real quick. Oops. Move this. I want to show you just some of the changes to look for, since this is coming out. The print copy is coming out just in the next week or so. So if you go to the apa.org website and go to publications and databases here in this blue toolbar up here. So click on, there is an announcement for the publication manual new edition. And this page just kind of highlights some of the updates to look for. So some things will be, it'll be in full color with tabbed sections, which is kind of exciting. One thing that I find especially helpful is that there will be a student-specific section, so help specifically for students, because the 6th edition doesn't really address how to write papers, how students should write papers. So I think that's awesome. They've officially decided that there should be 1 space after N punctuation. They've also included guidelines for the use of the singular they, as well as 100+ new reference examples. So, as the world becomes more digital, we have so many new types of sources all the time. So look for new reference examples. So those are kind of the major things. Also on this page, if you keep scrolling down, you can see the full table of contents. So that is available online, so you can see all of the sections that will be included in the edition. Okay, and that's on apa.org, and just go to publications and databases.
I like the little line right below that said, why everyone.
Yeah,
everyone.
Everyone needs APA. I like the colors. It's kind of pretty. All right, so let me go back and we will talk about references now. So at this point, if you want to kind of follow along and do a little practice with references as I explain them, that would be cool. So first, in the Reference Center, you have the option to view My References first over here. My References is going to be your full reference library. So all of your references that you add into Academic Writer will show up right here under My References. So it's a little unique. They're all kind of just presented in one large list. So I know that might be a little overwhelming then to find exactly what you're looking for. So then there's a couple ways you can do this. I find the sort feature up here to be helpful. So it will default to sort by author alphabetically. And then you can also choose to sort by date, by title, by reference type, or also by date added. And then also to find a specific reference here, find what you're looking for. Another good idea is to use this notes field here that's included with each reference. So you can save any sort of note that you like. I tagged a note in this, so this is a way that you could organize your references for a specific class, for a specific assignment. So here I just put Psych 101. And then when I come up to the search box, I've essentially tagged that reference. So then when I search that, it should locate that reference for me so that I can find what I'm looking for.
And that was not case specific.
No, it was not. Okay. So think of that as your full reference library, all of the references that you put into Academic Writer. So now I'll show you how you actually get those references in there. So I just went back to the Reference Center, and then this time I'm going to choose the Add References option. Okay, so from here, you have 3 options to add references. You have Create, Import, and Search. With the Create tab, this is essentially working through your references from scratch. So I like to think of these as a very good learning opportunity for students, especially if they're very new to APA style and you want them to actually learn how to write that reference on their own. And then this will help them with the formatting. So their job will be to first decide what type of resource they have, which I've heard from students is more of a hurdle than you would think, but that can be difficult, especially if they're pulling resources from online. So first they need to decide what type of resource they're working with. Then once they choose that, I'll just pick journal article. Then they'll need to work through each section and retrieve all of this information from their source. So it's going to walk them through each section. We have our authorship, date, title, source, and then some extra things like abstract, notes, and quotations. So these will not actually be a part of the reference. It's just extra information you can save along with it that could be helpful while you're writing your paper. Okay, so this form, you just want to work through each section. In the box, it's going to explain what exactly should go in there. But then at any point, if you're unsure, you can click on these little question marks next to it, and a box will pop up with some guiding information. So this is information that comes, from the publication manual. There's an example up here in the top right, and then also a link for this one. There's a link to more help. This is a quick guide from the Learning Center about how to write a reference for a journal article. So lots of help along the way. I know it can look like a lot of information to fill in, but there is a lot of help along the way. Okay, so
Can I ask a question?
yes, of course.
Do they have to know whether they need to capitalize or not capitalize, or will that
Yeah.
do it for them?
That's a great question. So yes, there is help with the formatting with capitalization. So let me show you along with the title here. So in APA style, titles of articles will be formatted in sentence case, which would mean that you only capitalize the first word and then anything after a colon, if there's a colon in the title. So if I said like, this is my article title, and I put everything in that, everything capitalized. If you see this button right next to it, says format and sentence case, I can click that on my reference. And then just a quick note here, it's adjusted the capitalization, but I'm still responsible for proper nouns. So it doesn't recognize those. So you just have to make sure to check for any proper nouns. But okay, and then I can see that it has adjusted the capitalization for my article title.
Do the opposite.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so then with the source section, this would be like your journal name. So I'll put like Journal of Nursing or something like that. So then once I click format in title case, it will do the reverse and it will change the capitalization for the source title, so the journal title.
What I meant on the one
Oh, yeah.
was if they didn't have the right word capitalized, would it capitalize it? Like if you didn't have this capitalized in that?
Yes. So you mean if I had this in lowercase
Right.
and then format, yeah, it will adjust that. Yep. Yeah. Okay. So that's using the form to create your references. Next, let me show you the import option, which will be, you know, probably more, a little easier, quicker for the student because they won't have to go through and fill out all of that form, but they can pull references from other sources using the import feature. So say I'm a student and using ProQuest, a ProQuest database to find my articles. From ProQuest in the database, you just need to use the export feature and look for RIS option. So an RIS file is essentially a type of file that allows different programs to communicate citation information. So it's essentially a list of citation information, author, date, title, and so on and so on. And that allows Academic Writer to pull in that citation information and then put the reference into APA style. So the student in ProQuest exports their reference RIS files and then comes to Academic Writer. They would have saved those RIS files somewhere on their computer, and you can choose the file and then submit it here and it will pull those references in. You can do multiple at one time. You don't have to do one by one. And also there's different origin that you can choose. So you can also pull references from things like Zotero if your students are using that as a reference manager, or also RefWorks, EBSCOhost databases. So you just choose the origin, import them, it will do its magic and put the references in APA style.
So I would have to have downloaded the file already, or can it be imported directly from ProQuest?
It's not direct. You
Okay.
can't, yeah, it's not direct.
So I have to have it
Yeah, that would be,
saved somewhere?
you would have to save it, yeah. I think my dream for the future is having a direct export from different databases. You can if you have PsycNet, which I don't think you have PsycInfo through EBSCO.
Yes, so
Okay, I know if you have PsycNet, which is like APA's platform, you can direct export, which is pretty cool, but not from EBSCO.
Okay, and where is the RIS?
It's, yeah, so it's in different places in different databases and reference manager, but look for, it will say export and it will give you an RAS option. It might say save.
So do my research.
Yeah, I know.
I think you can also just do save directly, and it depends whether it's ProQuest or EBSCOhost. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, it's different across different platforms. But the RAS file is very standard, so you'll have that option in all of these. So then once you actually pull in that reference, some good reminders down here. Not all references are totally accurate, especially even coming from reputable databases in, EBSCOhost and ProQuest. There are mistakes a lot, and a lot of times that's because publishers have their own specific rules that they require people to submit their references. So there is some help. You will see this bright red exclamation mark here if there is verification needed. So some things that are common would be like missing information. So maybe you're completely missing an author, or there's just a section of your reference that is empty. Also first and middle names, I would look out for those. And then also the incorrect capitalization. So it's not going to change the data. Academic Writer is not going to change data that's pulled in, but it will alert you if things seem wrong. Okay. Next option we have here is a search, and this is kind of unique here because we are APA and we maintain PsycInfo databases. You can pull references straight from PsycInfo here. So this is a direct option. So if you want to right now just kind of experiment with some references, you can use this search option to just get some references in your account so that you can use them for practice. So the way this works, it's not full access to the database. Like you wouldn't come here to do research, but it's a known item search. So if you know that you did research in PsycInfo, since all of those references are already formatted in APA style, you can pull them directly in from PsycInfo. You can search by author name, title, but if you just want some practice, you can search, say, I'll just put in like Smith and the author name and hit search. And then you'll see a list of, several references here. So if you'd like to use some for practice, let me go to another page and just select the box next to the reference. You can add several if you like, and just click add to my references at the top. So that will help you build your My Reference library. So it told me it's been added. So that's how the search feature works. Any other questions about references? And then if not, I'll jump over to the Writing Center and show you a few features in there.
So if we were actually using this, like the import, if we have questions, the librarians here.
Yeah, the librarians can help you. You can also reach out to us. That email address I mentioned at the bottom, we can help you with. If you have questions about how to import things, how to use different features, we can help you as well. But yes, your librarians can be a great resource. Okay, so now hopefully you have some references in your account. So we'll go to the Writing Center now, and I'll show you how to start a paper. So from the Write tab, you just want to click on Write a New Paper. The first page you'll see is a template selection page. These templates are essentially just the heading levels pre-formatted. So the sections of your paper are pre-formatted. These types of papers are described in the publication manual. If you would like to choose a basic paper, that is going to be totally blank. So you can just start with a blank canvas for your paper. But I'm going to show you, I'm going to select this multi-experiment because I know that this one has some heading levels in it. So first off, it's going to ask me how I plan to use this paper. You can have students select the student option. The professional manuscript option is just, it's going to have a little extra information required, like an author note, abstract, and keywords. So you can choose student assignment and hit submit. Then the first thing you need just to get started with your paper is a paper title. So I will put in my title. You're not going to be locked into this. You can come back and edit your title at any time. And then you have the option to start adding your references from the start if you like. Otherwise, you can just click on Start Writing. Okay, so now this has taken me, this is just asking me if I want some help and directing me to the Site Help page. I'll just close that. So now I'm in the full Writing Center, the body of my paper. I have my multi-experiment set up already, kind of the framework here. So I have my study 1, method results discussion, study 2, method results discussion, and so on. Each section has some description there of what should be included in that section. Excuse me. So I have my headings here already outlined for me. You'll notice also on the left side, you have an outline as well. So this kind of reflects just the structure of the sections in my paper. Once I click on a section, that guiding information will disappear, and then I can start writing my own content. If I want to view that information again, or if I need some more help, you can click up in the top right, that question mark, and it walks me through each section with that same guiding information over there. And then some other kind of contextual information that corresponds with what I'm working on over there. So if I say want to start working on my headings, if I need to make changes there is a section on the headings with information there, and it will also refer me to this quick guide in the Learn Center. All right. So then let me show you how to actually change your headings if you need to. So all of these headings are added here. If I need to, update the heading level, say just for example, I wanted to change this level to a level 3. Come up to the headings drop-down menu up there. I'll see this chart that essentially is directly from the publication manual. It shows me each heading level and how it should be formatted. You can also remove a heading level there at the bottom if you need to. So I'll just choose level 3. Once I click that, it's going to automatically format that heading for me. Whether it's indented like this one, punctuation, bold. Okay, so you should have some headings here where you have kind of a framework created for your paper. Next, I can show you how to add your title page. So if you'd like to create a title page, over on the left side under main menu, just click on title page. And from here, it's different from, writing a paper in Word where you just have a blank page and need to create your title page. This is presented in a form, so you just fill in the required information here. So if I had my running head, I just need to put in there my shortened version of my title. I can select the date, professor name, if you would like to include that, course number, course name if you like. typical information required for a student paper. Once I click save and continue to the next page, this is where you put in your author information. So as the author, I can put in my name. And then also you can include an affiliation, so your institution if you like. And just click save. It will save my authors. So then if you want to view your what you have so far in your title page or in your paper, you can click on this preview tab at the top, and you can see all of that information that I just entered in the title page is now all formatted for my title page. So I have my running head up here at the top with my shortened title. I have my page number, everything included in the title page, centered and formatted. And then you can flip through. This one just shows you, I don't have a lot of content in here yet, but it shows me that I have my heading levels set up and everything that I've worked on so far. Okay, so now if you'd like to go back to the edit option, we've kind of set up our headings. We've created a title page. So we have those things done on our paper. Now I'm just going to show you how to add some references to the paper. So if you'd like to, select the Add New Reference button there. This should take you to your My Reference list. So any of the references that you added using that search option in the Reference Center should show up here. So if you just want to select a few to just get some practice, select as many as you like, and then just click Add to Paper. Excuse me. So then it's told me that my reference has been added. You can close this X, click that X there to close and return to the body. And then when I look down below, I should have my references now showing up along with my paper. Good. Any questions? Are you able to add a reference okay? All right. So then along here in my reference section, so I have my paper framework started, title page, some references added. So now let me show you how to add an in-text citation to the paper. So I don't have, much content in this paper yet, but all you need to do, let me click on a section, is click on a section exactly where you want a citation to go. So let's just say I'll click my cursor here, and just for practice, this is where I want my citation to go. You can come up to the Insert option and choose Find and Cite Reference. You can also right-click and choose Find and Cite Reference. Or you can come down to the bottom of the page, straight to your paper reference list, and select the reference that you want to cite and click on Cite. Okay, so then it's going to ask me for a bit of information. And this will help to format the citation. So is the citation parenthetical or narrative? If I hover over this, I will get some explanations, so helpful if students aren't quite sure about how to answer that yet. So you can choose parenthetical or narrative. And then also, is this a quotation? So if it's not a direct quotation, just choose no and click Submit. So then I can see back up in the body, it has essentially dropped that formatted citation right into my paper exactly where I told it to. So this one, just adjust the spacing a little bit, has been formatted with the author's name and the year of publication. So then let me show you. I'm going to cite that same reference again, right below it. So I'm just going to choose that reference again and click Cite. This time I will say yes, it is a quotation. It will help me format my quotation citation as well. So if I had already saved quotations along with my reference, I could just choose it now and drop it right in. Or I would like to cite a new quotation from this source. Okay, so with a quotation, you need to include a page number or a paragraph number. So I'll just type that in there, and then your quotation that you'd like to include in your paper. Very well. And then you can just click on Submit. This is mentioning that it has essentially created a dropped quote, so it's only just plopped that quotation right into my paper. The author still has that authority to be responsible for transitions and setting up the quote in their paper. Got it? And then let me show you this citation here. This is my quotation citation, and it's the same source. You might notice that the format has updated there with the second option. So in APA style, the format of the citation changes a little bit depending on how many authors you have and how many times it's cited in a paper. So I think this is a very great time-saving tool, so you don't have to keep going back and keeping track of how many times you've cited something and how many authors you have. So it will keep track of that for you. And then if I were to say delete this first time I cited it, where it's listed out all of my authors, it will update and make that adjustment so that now this is the first time I cited it. So I do need to include the authors listed out. Okay, so we've kind of built out a little bit of a practice paper here. We have some references, some citations, and quotation included. So now I'm just going to show you how to actually get your paper out of Academic Writer when you're ready to turn it in or do whatever you need to. So to get your paper out of Academic Writer, just come down to the bottom left and choose Export. So from there, you have the option to either email or download. The email option, you can send it to yourself or to someone else. It will be in a Microsoft Word document. And then the download option, you can download your paper as Word or PDF. I will mention if students ever use this download option and they're having issues, like it looks like nothing happens, I would say 100% of the time it's a pop-up blocker. So if that ever happens and it's like, I clicked download and nothing happened, have them check their browser settings, the pop-up blocker, because that does happen a lot. Okay. Any questions about those things? Hopefully this is helpful, kind of walk you through these features. I will mention, I know we're kind of at time here, but there's also some check tools to help students check their work as they go. They can make sure that their headings are in correct order. They can make sure they don't have any random orphan headings. Also, they can check their references. So this will run a check to make sure that they're not, missing information. If they are, it will show them that red exclamation mark that they need to verify information. There's also a match reference citations. So if I run that, this will just make sure that the references in my reference list have all been cited in my paper. So if they have not been cited, you'll see this red flag show up. So let me go to the paper since this one has a lot I haven't cited. So all of these red flags, I know I need to either remove them from the reference list or cite them in my paper. And you can easily remove them if you click the box next to the reference and click on delete. There you go. And I can see the ones that have been cited in that green cited box right next to it.
Well, it's
Okay.
the opposite. I mean, I know that because of Zoom, you're only generating the index citations
Mm-hmm.
out of the reference list.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I have students who have in-text citations that are not, like
Yeah.
generating out of thin air that are not in their references.
So
Will it
that-
do the reference check that way?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. So you can't actually add a real in-text citation here without having the reference in the list because it like is connected to the reference, if that makes sense. Because all the references here are formatted using these forms. So I'll show you, even though these, I use that search option, all of the references have a form connected to them so that if I need to make updates in the reference, I would update them in the form. So you can't really add a citation without having the reference in there already, if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah, unless they
check
just
the
type
manual.
it, yeah. And if they just type it, it's not gonna use the formatting feature. Yeah. Other questions? Let me check. How do I check the chat? Here we go. Oops. See if I have any questions from our people online. Nope, I don't have any. If anyone does have questions, feel free to chat them or holler out. But yeah, as you're kind of working through the program, I know it's you know, a learning adjustment. We're also used to writing papers in Microsoft Word, but with APA style, it really kind of knocks out those formatting things really quickly so that students can focus on the real content of their paper and the writing, the fun part, right? Okay. All right. And if you do think of questions later on, feel free to send us an email at academicwriter@apa.org. Come straight to Lewis and myself, so we'll see them.
Is there a log out?
There is a log out option. If you come up to the welcome, and you can choose log out.
I did not see that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you all so much for joining. I'm glad you could take the time and hopefully get a little practice, get used to using the tool.
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
So next we have meet the computers here because we'll have 2 more student training sessions later today.
two
So-
more.
And grab some swag and we have extra cookies and things back here too. So if you want to take something with you, please do.
Midday snack.
Yes.
Yeah.
We keep you well fed.
You too. Look at that big spread. Oh, I didn't hit stop.
That's okay.
Oh,
Go
yeah,
ahead and do
thank
that.
you.
Go ahead and take care of that.
Thanks.